It's been a while since we've given you guys an update on the cabin in the woods. And that's because I've been working really hard.
Not really. But we do have a lot to update you on because, believe it or not, some progress has been made. So let's take you inside and show you around. We talked about waiting to get permits on the last update because that was a big thing. We had to get permits for a lot of the stuff that we wanted to do in the house. And that's where our first problem kind of rose to the surface. Because when we went to file for permits, we found out that when the house was originally built in 1976, they never got their final inspection. Which means that the house was never finally inspected, so anything in the house was still open to that final inspection, even though it happened in 1976, well before I was born. Which also means that nothing in the house is grandfathered in under the original code in 1976, and everything has to be brought up to code of modern day 2024. So I was very worried about what that was gonna look like. We'll get to that in a second. Another thing we found out as we moved forward is that our house doesn't actually have a foundation. Apparently that's a big deal. Now, I don't know how this didn't get caught in the initial home inspection except for this. If you look at the outside of the house at a quick glance, it kind of looks like a cement foundation. Just one that had maybe like, wood on it to hold the forms. But this right here is plywood. Now, a traditional foundation is built with a concrete footer and then a steel reinforced concrete stem wall around the perimeter of the house and running through to support all the load-bearing walls. This has a concrete footer, but where it should have a steel reinforced stem wall, it's just a post and beam stem wall. Now, this isn't necessarily a huge deal because we crawled into the house and looked at that post and beam stem wall, and for being over 50 years old, it's actually in great condition. There's no rot, there's no sag, it's holding up wonderfully. The problem arises, anything that we want to do in the house that needs additional support, well, there's no transference on a post and beam stem wall like there is in a steel reinforced concrete stem wall, which means any place that we want to put a new beam in, a new load-bearing wall, a new header, we have to add concrete under the house in order to do so. So that's slowed things down quite a bit. Now, if you remember back to the last update, you probably noticed something different here. The original door had no overhang. It literally was out the front door, that's it. And we found that this was a problem because there's quite a bit of rot inside the front door. This is an area that gets quite a bit of snow in the wintertime, and the snow would build up and there's no place for it to go as it melts, and it would run back into the house and it was rotting right inside the front door. So one thing that I really wanted to do was add a cover on the porch. But because there's not a traditional foundation on the house and we're anchoring a good load of that cover on the house itself, well, we're gonna have to rip up the deck and we're gonna have to pour concrete under that stem wall to support the new load that we're putting on the roof. We're also gonna have to put a gigantic footer right here where this post goes in. And after looking at the deck and how much we're gonna have to tear the deck up in order to do everything, we decided that the best thing to do is actually just to rip out the entire deck. So we haven't gotten quite that far yet, but the entire deck will come out. And I think we're gonna do either a poured slab or pavers, which in my opinion is gonna be better because the maintenance is a lot less on it. It's not gonna rot over time, so that's gonna be great. Another small change that we made that you might not have noticed is that the door did not used to be here. Don't worry, this is a temporary door. We're replacing it with a new door. But the door actually used to be right over against this wall. So when you came in, you basically ran right into the stairs. So we moved the door over to be more centered in between the window and this wall. So now, when you come in, you have a little bit more of a walkway with the stairs on the left. It's the little things, right, that make the big changes. Also, my suspicions were confirmed. This definitely used to be outside of the house, because as you can see here, there's this decking material. But it's weird because it's got the regular foundation underneath, so I don't know what was going on here. but we're gonna put new underlayment and then hardwood floor throughout the entire house. Now let's talk about the loft situation. We have to rip out the entire thing. Now, engineers have played a big part in this remodel already because we want to make sure that everything is up to code, and more importantly, that everything's sturdy and stable enough. And apparently for a loft to be inhabitable by people and be like a walkway, it's got to support 40 pounds per square foot. And the engineer did all the calculations on this loft, and it only supports 15 pounds per square foot. But I'm actually kind of happy about it because we're going to rip out the entire thing and rebuild it, and we're going to be able to raise it up about 6 inches, which is going to give us a lot more ceiling height in the kitchen, which you can see has been thoroughly gutted. So this ceiling is going up, and we're going to be able to rebuild the stairs. The loft will be brand new, and more importantly, it's going to support like 80 pounds per square foot, so we know it's going to be rock solid. There used to be a full bank of windows here, and I was really excited when we were doing the demo to find out that there was a continuous header across the entire thing because we wanted to get rid of those windows and put in a big sliding door package. But the engineer got involved again, and he said there is a header that goes all the way across, but he didn't like the specs on that header because it didn't support enough load to accommodate the sliding door. So we put this monstrosity in. This is an 8x8 glue-lam beam. I mean, it is a big boy. So our contractor had to support all of these beams. He basically had to build a false wall, rip out the header, rip out the windows, and then put this in, which is going to be perfect for that sliding door package. The only caveat to that is this was obviously a lot thicker than the original wall. So we had to fur the wall out all the way across to accommodate the thickness of the beam. So the wall is just gonna have a little cut in right about here and then go back to its normal depth. We could fur it out all the way, but why lose an extra 4 inches into a room that we don't need to? This half wall, remember that thing that we ripped out? It looked something like this. Well, I always knew we were gonna put another beam in here. I thought we could probably just put one of these rough sawn beams, but the engineer was worried that it might not support enough of the snow load. So we're gonna put a glue-lam beam in here. It's gonna be the same dimensions as these. It's just gonna be less rustic. But we're painting the entire thing anyways, so who's gonna notice? And I'm gonna feel really good knowing everything is properly supported and the house isn't gonna fall down during a blizzard, because that would get really cold. Because all the snow outside would be inside, and then, well, our floor would be all wet. Fireplace, well, it's gonna stay here. Might do something to the brick. Don't know yet. My wife mentioned something about German schmear. I know I mentioned that last time. Still don't know, but for now, fireplace is just staying there. But it's also 101 degrees outside, so we don't have to worry about a fire for a while. There used to be a door right here that went out onto the back deck, but because we're getting rid of the windows over there and putting in the big sliding door package, we just got rid of this door and walled it off. But that's actually going to be nice because we're standing in the living room space, and this is going to be the perfect place to put a TV. And then you would be sitting on the couch, which is kind of cool to think about you sitting on my couch, just hanging out. Can I bring you anything? You want a soda? Some popcorn? Huh? I'll get you some popcorn. Hold on. I forgot we killed the power to the entire house, and we don't have a microwave or popcorn. So, next time. Let's go upstairs. We have to be really careful up here. Number one, like I mentioned, this doesn't support enough weight. And number two, we ripped off all the underlayment, and now the only thing supporting the floor is 1/4 inch plywood. So if you're gonna come up here, just walk carefully on the seams. Walk carefully. I mean, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but that's just 1/4 inch ply. Woo, boy. Now, I mentioned that this whole loft is gonna be raised up about 6 inches, and that's because this little bonus room over here, well, it's 6 inches higher, so there's always this step up into that room. So by raising the loft up, this will be the same level floor all the way into this room. But, oh, be careful. Okay, I made it. Now this is still kind of a work in progress. This used to be such a tight turn. You'd come in here and then you'd make this really tight turn through a narrow opening into this room because there was a shower right here, hence this valve sticking out of the floor with the shower attachment still on there. We're getting rid of that shower, if you remember from the last video, and we're making this into a half bath, which will allow a much wider hallway through here once we get rid of all this copper. The bathroom is going to stay there, but there's actually going to be a door here. We're going to get rid of the door on the other side so you can access the half bath from this bonus room or from walking through here. But come in here because this is really exciting. With my job, safety is a big concern. That's why we always take certain precautions: safety glasses, hearing protection, push sticks. We try and be as safe as we possibly can, but that doesn't mean things don't get dangerous sometimes. So naturally, every once in a while, we think, you know, what if the worst were to happen? But that's why I made sure that my family is protected with a good life insurance policy, and I was able to find a great policy using Policy Genius because they take all the hassle and stress out of finding the right policy and they make it incredibly simple. And if you don't believe me, just check this out.
With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options are 100% online and let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. Your work life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. Even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. Policy Genius gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. That's probably why they have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot, because they really are the smarter way to buy life insurance.
Now, you're probably wondering, well, that's great, but where do I go? What do I do? How do I sign up? Well, that is even easier than what you just saw. You just do this.
Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com/bourbonmoth or click the link in the description to get multiple life insurance quotes for free and see how much you can save.
A huge thanks to Policy Genius for sponsoring this video. Now I gotta get back to safely making some cuts. The sarcophagus is gone. If you remember back in the last couple videos, there was this awkward box in this room. It started right here, it went up about 4.5 feet, and it came all the way over here and then stopped, and it was carpeted, and they had weird like ladders and stuff up to it. And I was like, what the heck is this? It's taking up so much room in this space. And then after we went downstairs, we realized that that was actually the ceiling of the master bedroom. But why it needed to be up in here, I don't know, because the ceilings in the master bedroom are so high. So one of the big things we did was get rid of this giant box and we pushed it back into the master bedroom, which I'll take you down there in a second and show you. But now this is a legitimate room that you can actually use to do something with. I still think this is probably going to be a bunk room for all the kids to sleep up in because the ceilings, you know, they're a little low. But there's quite a bit of space up here, which is great. So that's pretty cool. But we weren't able to do that without some other issues. So let's go down into the master bedroom and I'll explain all those issues once we get down there. Remember, walk careful on this 1/4-inch plywood. Oh boy. So this is the hallway down to the master bedroom. There used to be a door here into the bathroom, which is weird because there's also a door into the master bedroom, which you can also get into the bathroom. So we just closed that up, framed it in, got rid of that door. So now you get into the master bedroom like this. Now here is that box that used to be upstairs. But the ceiling is still 9 feet high in the master bedroom in this one section, and it really doesn't look awkward at all. It looks way less awkward than that giant box that used to be upstairs, so I'm really glad we did this. But remember how I said the house doesn't have a traditional foundation? In order to support this big glulam beam that we put in for that bump out, we're gonna have to put in, a little wing wall on this side, and we had to put in this post over here on this side. But we can't just rest those on the floor because there's no transference for that load onto that, post and beam stem wall. So we got this all built, but it's not done yet. We're still gonna have to cut up the entire subfloor, get under the house, and pour giant concrete footers on this side and over here on this side so that we can bring this entire load up to code. Ha! Load up to code. That rhymes. So that's gonna be fun. But here's the really cool part. I'm hiring somebody else to do that. But maybe I'll still show you a video when it gets done. So that's the master bedroom. We ripped all of this out. This is gonna be the new remodeled master bathroom. There used to be a separate room over here with a shower and toilet, and then this was actually a closet. So we're getting rid of the walk-in closet because we don't need the closet space, and we're gonna put a double vanity sink in here. We're gonna put a shower back in here, but we're gonna reframe it with tile and all of that, and then the toilet will be over here in the corner. So it'll be a nice, big master bathroom, which is pretty cool. The laundry room, not a whole lot's changed. Obviously, we ripped out all those closets and that weird soffit that was up here. We're pretty much gonna just put this back together, minus the weird closets and the soffit. Built-in cabinets along this wall with a big mud sink. The washer and dryer is gonna go right behind you in that little alcove. And then this is the door to the garage. So I'm gonna kind of make this a mud room for entering off of the garage. I think I'll do a big corner built-in bench along here with maybe some hooks for coats and things like that. But all in all, as far as the structuralness of the space, not doing a whole lot to it, which is good, because I'm tired of doing all that structural stuff everywhere else. One thing I didn't mention with ripping out the loft was the stairs. Obviously, we're gonna rebuild the stairs. Right now, they're not up to code. That was a big issue going back to the fact that the house never got its final inspection. Because I always knew that the stairs weren't up to code, but I was like, they're grandfathered in. They can't make us change them. But because there was no final inspection, they can make us do whatever we want. Now, the reason they're not up to code is because they're not wide enough. Code requires that the stairs be at least 3 feet wide. But code also requires that the hallway be at least 3 feet wide. Lucky that this is 6 feet. So we can do 3 feet for the stairs, 3 feet for the hallway, and it's not gonna be too bad. And if you're like 3 feet's really skinny for a hallway, come back here for a second. This hallway right here, 32 inches. So at least it'll be wider than what's already here. But I agree, 3 feet's still kind of skinny, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Some things you just can't change. The bedrooms, minus the master bedroom, are my favorite part of the house. And the reason is, we don't have to do anything to them. New paint, new floor, but structurally, they're good to go. We are replacing all the windows and doors in the entire house, so these single panes will come out. But as far as construction, structural, engineering, the bedrooms have been my favorite part. And the cheapest part so far. This is the bathroom, the main, communal bathroom downstairs. It's very dark in there because we killed the power and there's no lights and a lot of the windows are boarded up because we're replacing them. But it'll be a bathroom still. Not much to report. I'm gonna do a new bathroom vanity, new tile walk-in shower, and toilet, obviously. This was the pad where the air conditioner was sitting on. But if we're doing all this work to the house to make it pretty much brand new, why run a 50-year-old air conditioner? So we decided to get rid of the air conditioner and the furnace because they were both original to the house. So new air conditioners going here. As you can see, the pad has seen better days. So we're also going to rip out this pad, pour a new one, do it right, probably build a little enclosure around it to make it look all fancy. But we will have a new furnace and a new air conditioner, which will be more efficient, work better, and on days like today, well, would be very much appreciated. I mentioned that we're doing all new doors and windows in the house. We got these bad boys from Portland Millworks. A huge thanks to them for all their help on this project. It's been amazing. If you are in the Portland, Oregon, in general area, check out Portland Millworks because they got sweet doors and windows. Can't wait for these to get in. That's gonna make a dramatic difference to the house. They always say that things have to look worse before they can look better. And if that's the case, I think we're doing a fantastic job because the house looks, well, actually, I don't know if you could say it looks worse. It looked very bad when we bought it. It looks different, but I'm really excited. We have this thing ripped up and torn apart enough that I think we are finally at the point where we are done finding surprises that are gonna slow this project down. And we have finally started building it back up again, which is so exciting to see. Right now, it's on our general contractor's hand for the most part because he's an expert at what he does, and I don't want to be lifting giant glue lamb beams into place. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm really excited for getting the house to the point that I can do what I do best, which is the finished carpentry, the cabinets, the vanities, the furniture, and all that fun stuff that I can't wait to share with you guys. So, we promise that we're going to keep bringing you over here and showing you updates as this project moves along. Just stay with us because these things take a while. Check the video description down below if you are not signed up on Patreon because we are going to be doing a ton of behind the scenes footage on this thing on Patreon, and you can get a bunch of backstage cool stuff that we're just not going to show everybody else because some of it might be stupid and dangerous, and we don't want people to know we do those kind of things. Unless you're a patron, then for some reason it's okay. Until next time.